Hello, Suzanne from San Marcos, and hello, Thomas from Austin. We have Teresa, who is in Dayton, Ohio. Hello. It is so great to have everybody here. I just want to welcome you to our very first episode of Master Steps. I am so excited to be getting started, and I do appreciate the flexibility with the timing of the launching of this first episode because I literally thought that moving into a new house and doing the class on the same day was a doable thing. And it's not that I forgot anything. I literally thought that I could do both on the same day. And everything was going relatively fine until I could not find the power cord for the computer. So again, many thanks to you for your flexibility and understanding. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amy, and I am the founder and owner of Trend Travel. I am an independent travel agent. I have a host agency, and I wanted to start off this series because when I first became a travel agent, although there was a plethora of information and trainings and all different kinds of sources to help me on my journey, I didn't even know what my first question was that I should be asking. So I really kind of felt overwhelmed and I didn't really know which direction to go to. And so I really thought that it might be important for either someone who may be on the fence about whether they want to become a travel agent, or perhaps you're a brand new agent and you're kind of feeling that overwhelmed feeling of so much information and not knowing where to begin. This week, we are going to be talking about the journey beyond false beliefs in travel entrepreneurship. And I think that this is important to kind of start off with for two different reasons. First of all, if you are that person who's on the fence and you're trying to figure out, is this going to be the right move for me? Will this be a good fit? I think it's important that you're able to know that some of the things that you hear about travel aren't necessarily true. Some of them are just myths, some of them are misconceptions. But who more important to hear the correct answers but from another travel agent, someone who's been in the industry and can answer those things for you. And it might make things a little bit clearer for you. And then secondly, I think it's really important that if you already are a travel agent, it's our responsibility to really be able to educate the public, our friends, our family, our audience, in knowing what's what. And again, I think, you're not going to really get those correct answers from anyone but someone who's actually in the industry and doing this every day. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Everything is falling into place. Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Um, again, I just thought that I would put this series together, and there are a variety of topics that we're going to talk about. And so if there's anything that you've always had this burning desire to ask about, or maybe a topic that I haven't touched on, please either get in touch with me directly or leave something in the comments. The best way to do that is to subscribe on my YouTube channel, and then that way I'll make sure that all the messages kind of come in the same place and I don't overlook anything. If you do feel like I've overlooked your suggestion, then please contact me directly, because if anything, I want everyone to be able to kind of walk away after each class feeling like they either heard something they hadn't heard before, or maybe learned a little bit more information on something that they had questions about. So without further ado, again, I want to thank you for coming and spending your evening with me for just a little bit. And we're going to dive into false belief number one, which is that travel agents are obsolete. Now, I really can't even stress enough how false this is. If anything, travel agents are on a growing demand, and there are more and more businesses, more and more families that are turning to travel agents to help them to plan their travels. And, the misconception that agents are no longer relative is just something that I think maybe people who aren't really traveling are suggesting, perhaps, because anyone who is an avid traveler, they all seem to always have a travel agent, because there's nobody else that's going to be able to really give you that expertise in a particular destination or region of the world other than a travel agent. And you definitely want to be able to offer that service to your clients. and the misbelief about niches. I fell victim to this because in the beginning I thought, I want to know everything about all kinds of travel. I want to be able to answer any question about anywhere in the world, any type of travel. And that's really just not a very realistic expectation, simply because there's just so much information that you can learn. And it's just, you know, marketing alone would be a nightmare, which is something I learned very quickly because there are so many different platforms and places that you can market your business. And if you're trying to do, marketing on even a niche, that can get overwhelming. So much less trying to just know everything. And something that I was taught was, if you are just kind of shouting out to an audience of people or a big group of people, and you don't really have a topic or a niche, if you will, nobody's really listening. I mean, they hear that there's some commotion going on and they hear that somebody's speaking, but they're not listening to you because you aren't talking to them. However, if you're able to narrow that niche down a little bit more, then you're actually speaking to a particular group of people and they're going to tend to listen to you more. So again, I do now jump on that bandwagon about niching down being very, very important. But more and more, the trends are showing that when people are traveling, that they're looking for something that's authentic, and they've got that genuine desire to, explore the different areas and maybe things that are off the beaten path, or something that maybe only a local would know. And so, being able to, meet up with the people who are looking for these kind of experiences is something that you can really capitalize on and make sure that you highlight in what makes you, the go-to person for that particular type of travel. And for me, I think that COVID really kind of highlighted the necessary need for having a travel agent, because when people were, in another country, or heck, even in another state for that matter, and all of a sudden this pandemic hit and the world just seemed to kind of stop and everybody was really nervous and there didn't really seem to be a lot of answers, but there certainly seemed to be a lot of hurdles that we needed to cross. And so, again, this is where I just really take it very seriously about being able to educate my audience and my clients, is because there were, regulations that were coming and going, and there were different restrictions and openings, and there was just so much information that was literally changing from minute to minute and hour to hour, that it was just impossible to be able to wade through all of that if you didn't really have someone who knew what they were speaking about. And it was really a good feeling for me when I did have a client who was stuck in destination. The father of this group tested positive, which means he had to stay back. He couldn't go home. He had to quarantine. But his family and his three small children were going to have to travel back with his wife by themselves. And that was something that they'd never done. They were already really apprehensive, and there was just a lot of anxiety, as you can imagine, around that. And so for me to be able to, know who that BDM was in that particular destination and to be able to speak to them directly about my client, it just was that little special step and that little special gem, if you will, that only a travel agent can have. And, we've all been there where we've either lost our luggage, you got sent someplace else, it didn't get sent at all. You can't very well call a booking engine online to help you with your luggage, or if you missed your flight. And these are just things that, again, booking engines are great and they have their place. They're very convenient, but a travel agent is going to be able to give you that, that tailored experience. They're going to be able to give you that special attention. And that's really what people who are traveling have grown accustomed to and what they really want. So the need for, a travel agent, again, is just highlighted as to why you wouldn't want to book any kind of travel, even if it's just a road trip, without using a travel agent. Oh my goodness, you were stuck in Canada when that happened. And did you seem to have, did you use a travel agent? Were you able to speak to? Okay, okay, great. So your sister-in-law was a travel agent. She took care of you. And weren't you glad that you had someone to call, right? I mean, if you don't have someone to call, who do you call even? Like, I wouldn't know what to do. I didn't, grow up with a lot of travel agents in my family, or even one actually. And I never even saw myself in the travel industry. I was a paramedic for years and years, and I absolutely loved it. And I just never even thought about becoming a travel agent, never saw myself working in the travel industry. I mean, yeah, I like to travel, but I'd only booked for myself and my family and maybe some friends, but not on a public scale. So I just kind of fell into this opportunity. And, I thought beginning off that I was just going to want to kind of do this part time and see how it went and just, maybe supplement my income. But then the more that I got involved and the more that I started learning, the more excited I got. And I finally had found something where I felt a passion for and was excited about again to be able to share with other people. And I think that, again, that really shines through when you're talking about something. If you enjoy talking about something, if you're experienced and knowledgeable about talking about something, it's not really hard to do. And again, that niche specialization is just being able to afford travel agents to find success, because any kind of group, for instance, that you are thinking about, yes, there are foodies, but there's particular types of foodies. And then you have a group traveling or you have a solo traveler. And so the more you're able to kind of narrow down what you want to specialize in, the better it's going to be. Because if they know that that's, something you specialize in, then they just expect that you're going to have knowledge in that. And the online booking engines, they have particular types of travel. I mean, you can choose a cruise or you can choose, an all-inclusive, but you're not going to find a box to check off that's going to take you behind the scenes or to get you maybe off that beaten path and get a really genuine and authentic experience. And this is what, travelers are looking to have. They're expecting it. And you can thank social media, you can thank all the influencers, because all of the content that you're seeing on these different social platforms just really highlights and makes people want to go there even more. And if they find that you happen to specialize in that particular area, why would they look anywhere else, right? And then also, you've got the different suggestions that you can make for people, whether it's a excursion to go on, or even bringing up the need for having travelers protection. I can't tell you how many times that I've talked to people and they're planning these really big, involved trips, vacations, corporate events even, and they haven't even asked me about getting traveler's insurance, which is crazy because if you think about it, people insure their cell phones, right? Yeah, you do. Okay, John, exactly. And so if you're going to spend, hundreds or perhaps thousands and thousands of dollars on an experience, don't you want it to be protected in case anything goes sideways? So, as a travel agent to another travel agent, please make sure that you are always offering that for them. And then I would even go as far as getting a signature if they decline to have that section, just a little sidebar. Yeah, any questions about anything yet? Um, okay, biggest suggestion. That's a great question, Leslie. Thank you. Okay, my biggest suggestion for anybody who's either already in the industry or, about to, dive in, my biggest suggestion would be to make sure from the very beginning that you're organized. I mean, I'm hoping that this series will help everybody to set a foundation, to give them a really good starting off point. And even if you've been in the industry for a minute and you're kind of backtracking a little bit, making sure that you have your plan of action, your business plan, your why, all of these things are very, very important to actually sit down, take the time to think them through and write them down. It's really important that you stay organized from the beginning, because you can have stickies and notes really start to pile up, and be all over your computer really, really quickly. And there's nothing worse than knowing that you wrote something down and not being able to find it, or thinking that, somebody who maybe made an inquiry, well, they just, ghosted. And then all of a sudden they're calling back and they don't want to answer the same questions that they've already answered, right? Where are your notes? Where's your file on them? I'm a paper person. I really like to print things out. I like to be able to touch them and highlight them and turn the page. And so I made sure that my filing system was just very, very organized, color coordinated, all sorts of really great things to make sure that I could find my things and know where everything was from the beginning. And so that would be, and I know it doesn't really sound like a travel related answer, but again, we're talking about setting a foundation that needs to be solid, needs to be strong, and it needs to be able to be easily repeated. And so being organized is just going to help you to do that. So very good question. Thank you. False belief number 2 is that travel agents must be tech gurus. Not the case. I myself had never ever taken a computer class. And luckily, there is the power of YouTube and TikTok and all these how-to videos everywhere. So I was able to really make the choice myself to actually dive in and learn how to do different things. But, it's very, very false that you just have to be this all-knowing guru to be able to navigate. And I do understand that when you're an independent travel agent, that you're, for the most part, on your own about doing your marketing and setting your campaigns and such. So yes, you can't just ignore the fact that technology is a piece of this industry. But it's important, but it's not the sole determinant about whether you're going to be successful or not. Do I have a particular platform that I suggest over another? There are so many absolutely great platforms. You've got your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube. You have, so many to choose from. I personally would just suggest that you choose whichever platform that you're comfortable with. If you feel like you have a larger group of friends or a following on one over another, maybe that's where you want to start. And perhaps you just want to kind of start small and then gradually add different platforms to your repertoire. That's really going to be a personal choice because, I had one of my much, much, much younger travel team members tell me that Facebook is just for old people. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, she's like, people my age are on Instagram. And okay, all right. But, you that proves a really good point that it's important that you know your audience. You know where to find them. You know what it is that they're looking for. So I do a master class where I kind of dive into each topic a little bit further. And I do an over the shoulder, like for content creation, on how to utilize some of the different tools that we have. And so I'll give you more information about that as it's coming up. But, knowing who your exact client is, who is your dream client, what are their attributes, what are their likes, where are they going to be, because you being able to find them is really the only way that you're going to be able to have them contact you with travel inquiries, right? You don't want to be dealing with one group that you're having a lot of interaction with if that's not even the type of travel that you are knowledgeable about or even care to book, right? And so it's important that you know where to find them. There are, as I kind of mentioned, there are lots of user-friendly tools that do not take a lot of experience or, learning how to use. One, for instance, that I literally should probably have stock in is Canva. And Canva is just this dream come true because it literally is hands down. I haven't had anybody say that they couldn't figure it out. It is the easiest platform as far as creating content or editing content that's been available. I have tried a lot of different programs and I like a lot of them, but Canva is my go-to every time. I create almost everything through my Canva app. And there's a free version that you don't have to worry about spending any money up front, and you don't have to worry about, knocking yourself out of budget before you even begin. And again, I will do an over the shoulder how to and kind of show you some of the things that I learned along the way, because Canva is like evolving as, technology is. And it's really great because they're having new tools and, new amenities, if you will, that you can do. They didn't start off having, for instance, all these things for live and reels and stories, and now those things are offered, and you can have them for any kind of content on any kind of platform that you are even thinking about, because it's user friendly and you can use it across the board. But it is important that you want to invest in training and support, and you want to know where to be able to find those things. My host agency is phenomenal, and there is literally more training that one could even take in a day, in a week, in a month even. When I first started, I had to pull myself back because I was still figuring things out, and I was still, learning a lot of things as I went. And so I could have been in class all day and all night, and the material was new to me. So it was very, very interesting, very intrigued by learning about different regions. And so I had to kind of, pull back so that I wasn't just sitting in training again for perhaps all these different kinds of types of travel that I wasn't necessarily going to be specializing in. So again, you might want to start small and then kind of gradually, increase, whether it's your content or, how many platforms or where all that you are advertising. Another little tip about, being able to market yourself as an independent travel agent is things like Google, because they're free, and you just, give them information and answer questions, and then, you're on Google. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember when the internet began, and I know I'm showing my age, I do, but I remember that. And, Google was just like, that was a business page. That was like taking the yellow pages and the white pages and putting them together. And it was just this grand thing. But now you can be on page one of a Google search. And that's a goal, right? I mean, you want to be able to get out there in the community and in the world of travel and be that go-to person. You want to be the one who's in the know, the one that people go to ask questions for. And the best way to do this is to make sure that you're getting the training, asking for support, and then learning how to integrate all of these systems together to be able to put out a really great product, right? And people, they get kind of overwhelmed over thinking about, well, I don't know how to do these documents, and I don't know what documents I need, and do I need a lawyer, and do I take things one step at a time, make your plan out. I have got a fantastic planner. It's going to be launched probably in the next less than 30 days, that my business partner, Kwame Shavers, and I have put together. And it is the planner of all planners, because it's not just your little 8 to 5 planner. It is a 24/7 every day, but we do it, quarters at a time, because that's a good manageable set of time where you can set goals and then actually see yourself achieving goals, which is important to keep momentum, because it's so easy to be motivated and inspired when you feel like things are going the right way. But this planner really helps keep you on track, because it allows you to have these brain dumps, when you're thinking of things and you're having this creative moment. But again, I'll talk more about that later. Another thing that I want to let you know is that there's nothing wrong with outsourcing your tech stuff. There are so many different, you've got your freelancer and you've got your Upwork, and these are just different apps and programs that you can go into. And you have all of these content creators that, might specialize in logos or might specialize in websites. And it does not take much to hire one of these people to complete a project for you, which is really, really great. Because even if you are pretty savvy and you like to create your own content, maybe you've got a big thing coming up and you've just got yourself spread thin. Those are really great tools to be able to learn and get some really great content. And speaking of great content, there is an app, I guess, if you will. It's a website called Branch Up. It's branchup.com. The gentleman who started it used to be in the travel industry. So this product is free to travel agents, and they create this amazing content that they will post for you daily on the different social platforms that you ask that they post for. They do a monthly newsletter that you can edit, add, subtract information and different things on there. And you can tell them which suppliers you plan on booking with, the ones you are booking with. And then they do the kind of promotional ad content for your social media. And it's free and it's amazing. And I literally can't believe that it's something that's available to us. So if you are not familiar with branchup.com, definitely go and check it out because it has been a lifesaver for that time that you are really busy and you don't have the opportunity to maybe create something new and fresh. You don't have to worry about it because they are doing it every day on your social platforms. So that is phenomenal. Brings me to false belief number 3, and that's that independent travel agents can't compete with big agencies. This is false as well. I think that you have the decision about whether you want to join an agency, whether it be a small agency or a very large agency, a nationwide agency, worldwide, whatever, or if you want to be an independent contractor. There are a lot of great perks on both sides, and you just kind of really have to feel out and do your research into each one to figure out which one's going to be the best fit for you. Because if it's not a good fit and it's not somewhere where you're comfortable, then you really probably need to maybe look towards going a different direction. And I know that in the beginning, I thought, well, I bet there's a lot of safety in joining an agency because then I have, maybe I'm handed a list or a pile of clients. And maybe I, don't have to worry about all this marketing myself. But most people who are on this video right now are of the entrepreneurial spirit. And as entrepreneurs, we tend to like being our own boss, doing our own thing. And I don't want someone to tell me what my specialization is going to be or what type of client that I'm going to be working for. I want to be able to make these decisions myself. And that's why being an independent travel agent was, absolutely hands down the right decision for me. And so it's something that you just kind of need to figure out what you're comfortable with and whether or not you want the flexibility that being an independent contracted agent allows you to have. I can work whatever hours, I can work whatever days. I mean, a lot of holidays have just kind of come through, and I was able to decide whether or not I was working on these holidays or if I was spending that special time with family and friends. And Google even, it's really cute. They'll send me a email or a text message, shortly before a particular holiday. And they're like, hey, Trend Travel, are you working on New Year's Day? And so they can remind you that you probably need to update your hours if you haven't already. And that's another thing that I did learn that I think is great to pass along is communication. Communication is absolutely hands down key in having a good relationship and being able to retain clients. If you are someone who has a really hard time with that, either you need to set really good reminders for yourself, or it might be a skill that you need to really strengthen. And perhaps if that's something you don't have any desire doing, then maybe an agency is a better fit. Because I've learned and I was told, and I didn't really believe it till I actually, experienced it myself. But that old saying about no news is good news is not the case in the travel industry. There are so many different things that can change. And, if you're learning along the way, there's going to be times where you're going to have hiccups, or perhaps you're going to make a mistake or an oopsie, or wish you could take back a mulligan. And so it's very important that you are communicating with your clients, because I was taught that they prefer communication with bad news over no communication at all. If you're keeping them appraised and letting them know the different, where you're at on each particular booking, or if you're going to be delayed on perhaps getting a proposal or a second, third quote to them, let them know that, because there's always that chance that in the downtime that you're just taking for granted that they're sitting there waiting for you, and maybe you're a day behind already and you haven't reached out to them to let them know, they've already moved on. There's lots and lots of agencies. There's online booking, by the way, and if you haven't heard. And so it's very important that you keep that communication line open. And I even have a thing in my new client welcome packet that I send out, and it's, what they can expect to get out of me and what their responsibilities in return are. And as long as you kind of have that understanding from the beginning, which is important, and you've both agreed on it, then there's really not any room for having, any mistakes or misunderstandings down the way. And, things can change. And it's important that you just let them know and give them the choice about whether or not they want to go with choice A or B or whatever, and letting them know what's happening. So I think, if you can follow these practical tips and then really learn to be able to leverage technology, your travel business is going to be able to get streamlined. It's going to help to, enhance your productivity and integrate things, so that you can work more on and focus more on bringing these exceptional travel experiences to your clients. So yes, I definitely think that these myths have maybe been okay. Tracy's saying that she didn't know these things, and these are the reasons why she wasn't wanting to be an independent travel agent. And so I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that I'm getting to tell you these things, because it's important that we know, what's up, what's down. um and again, when you're an independent travel agent and you've got your niche, then you're able to have that specialized expertise in a particular area, and being experienced and knowledgeable and then passing that along to your client really is going to not only just be able to show that you're going to be able to provide this exceptional customer service, but it gives you a transparency that is something that's very trustworthy in a person. When someone knows exactly what they can expect out of you, out of your business, out of your services, it just it puts that trust out there, and makes it that much more stronger. And knowing that they have a go-to person, especially if they've got a problem, or an unforeseen circumstance, things go a little bit off. Those things are so important in being able to retain clients. And then that word of mouth, you cannot beat word of mouth. So that's definitely a thing for, again, involving yourself in the community, making sure that you're that positive example of, is just, you can't get anything better than that. False belief number 4 is that travel agents just can't make a profit. And this is not the case. I mean, I was kind of surprised that this was one of the main misconceptions, is that you can't make money as a travel agent. Whether you're doing this full time, you're doing it part time, you're doing it time and a half, you have all of these different avenues that are available to you aside from just the commission of the travel that you've booked. If you specialize in a particular area and you provide specialized services, that can be something that you're charging for. If you offer like concierge services, my tagline used to be that I was your one-stop travel concierge. And I really, really mean that, because from the very, very first inquiry that you make with me, whether it's in writing or you've called, we've met face to face somewhere, from the very beginning, the very first time you ask me anything about your travels, all the way through the booking process, and then that little downtime before you actually get to travel. And then, of course, while you're traveling, until that person or group is safely back home, I'm there for them 24/7. They are my VIP. They are my only client as far as they know about anything. And if you can treat every client like they're your only client, who doesn't like feeling special? Who doesn't want to be a VIP? And if you're providing that service, that white glove service, if you will, they're going to return to you time and time again, because again, people like feeling special. They like feeling heard. And if you can master these skills and you can provide this service, sky's the limit as far as profits go. There has been a lot of, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Yes, there have been a lot of discussions as of recent time of whether or not to charge a booking fee or some type of fee prior to your first proposal that you've given or first quote. And a lot of people were on the fence, but as time has kind of passed over the past like year or 2 years, more and more independent travel agents are doing a research and planning fee or a pre-booking fee. And this is primarily to not just make sure that they're not just kicking the tires, but to make sure that it's someone that's actually ready to book travel. More people are expecting this fee from travel agencies and travel agents alike, whether you're independent or you're involved with an agency. They're expecting these fees now, especially for the people who travel frequently, especially for the businesses who use travel agents to book. They are really growing accustomed to this as being standard, pretty much. And again, it's a personal choice for you to make. No one's saying that you have to do it or not to do it. And you can also have the choice of perhaps you want to charge this particular fee, but when they book with you, you subtract that from the total. That's always an option. Or it can be a non-refundable fee, because there's nothing worse than spending a lot of time and effort and putting your expertise knowledge into a proposal or a quote, and you've found out all of this great stuff, and you've really put a lot into it because you're excited about this travel for someone, and then they ghost you. Well, if you have a fee from the beginning and they understand what the terms are, that sometimes can help you kind of weed through the people who are really not serious about booking. And they're just kind of asking an off the whim question about something, and maybe you took it the wrong way and you went and built out this whole entire thing, and they're not even talking about going on vacation. They're not even ready. They have no plans. That's disappointing. And I wasted a lot of time in the beginning. I think learning to vet someone and knowing the questions to ask a potential new client, these are important skills to learn how to do. I wasn't very good at the beginning on vetting my clients. And I think I did spend a lot of time that I should have seen was someone who was not ready or prepared or willing to book. And, again, a little side caveat is when you are doing these proposals and you're providing these quotes for these clients, you want to make sure, even if it's a family member, okay, you want to make sure that you're not giving them all the information. I mean, you're not going to tell them the flight number, time, departure, and all of these little details, because if you give someone all of these details, they're going to go online and they're going to book it. That being said, you're never going to hear me ever promote myself as the cheapest around, or I'll get you the cheapest deal out there, or I'll beat their price down. The only time I'm going to offer to beat someone else's price as far as a booking engine is when one of my suppliers is able to offer a price match. And again, that's only going to be an apples to apples kind of thing. If I've got you flights that are nonstop and you're spending this much time in the air and this much time traveling versus an online booking agent that has you in some layover for 12 hours, no, these are not apple to apple itineraries. And no, we're not going to price match that. Go ahead and sit down in the airport for 3 days. You know, people have asked, thank you. People have asked, well, how do you compete with the online travel engines? Well, simply, I don't compete with them. I don't ever plan on competing with them. I don't feel like I compete with other independent travel agents because I want everyone to do good. There are more than enough people traveling, and there are more than enough proposals and opportunities and regions in this world to be fighting over a client. That's just not my style. And I'm just not interested in trying to compete with a machine, because I'm not a machine. I'm one person. But what I provide is a very specialized holding your hand kind of service. And with me, you're going to get transparency. With me, if I, tell you I know something, I know it. If I tell you I'm going to find out, I'm going to find out. But I don't try to say, I can save you $20 on this, don't book with them. There's a saying, if you get a client based on the bottom line price, then you're going to lose a client based on the bottom line price. Because believe me when I say, if they're going to drop you and not book with you because so-and-so online saved them $10, they're going to turn around and drop you. And I mean, really, that's just not the kind of client that I want anyway. And it's not saying that I'm only going for these upscale clients, although that's a preference. But I offer a lot of specialized information and I bring a lot of experience to my clients. And so I think that that just kind of speaks for itself. So therefore, I don't really ever have to feel like I'm competing with an online booking engine or this huge agency that has $1 million marketing department. I just don't worry about that. Um, but these are all really great questions. Paid ads. Oh, okay. That is a very good question. While we were speaking about the travel platforms, there are postings and content that you can put out there that you can do all day long as much as you want, and it doesn't cost you a thing. If you are familiar with social media, then you know this already. But there are also paid ads, or you can boost your content. And this allows you to set a set number of days, or you want to spend this much a day, and it will promote your content, so many times a day, or it'll do it on, like if it's Facebook, it'll interchange between Facebook and Instagram with your messenger and all of that. And they kind of boost that material for you. And there are lots of good reasons to do that, but I will tell you it's not necessary if you are paying attention to the content and you're planning out your content, because you can have a lot of great pictures and videos and all this, you can generate all this stuff. It's just so pretty and it's so nice. But, one, if you're not consistent, then people aren't going to know where to look for you. And so they're not going to. We're inherently lazy creatures, right? And then two, if one day you're, talking about just stuff for someone who's traveling alone and you've just got all this great stuff, that's good, but maybe you don't even book solo travel. Maybe you have not booked solo travel, so you don't know answers to some of their questions. But then the next day you're doing something about this all-inclusive thing for this big group and a graduation party or whatever it may be. You have to have a plan and everything has to come together, which again is why I love the planner that my partner and I put together, because it allowed me to, excuse me, to really map that out so that everything draws back in to what it is that I'm promoting. I try not to promote too many things at once because I will lose track of them. And I kind of dibble dabbled with paid ads in the beginning because I was desperate and I just really wanted clients. But once I learned more about marketing strategies, which is things that we'll go over in this masterclass, but once I learned about search engine optimization, for instance, and which words were going to draw the attention of the audience that I was looking to attract, those things really helped me to kind of elevate my game as far as my marketing went. And I do my marketing myself. I don't have a team or an agency that I have do it for me. So I do know I can suggest some things that worked for me and some things that really did not at all. And I can also point you in the direction of different little details that you need to make sure that you familiarize yourself with, because you might not be on social media, but I guarantee to you that your clients are, right? And so knowing your audience and where you can find them, again, are key to this. But again, I think that we have spent a really good amount of time talking about some misconceptions and what are myths in the travel industry. I hope that something resonated with you, and I hope that you had an aha moment perhaps. And again, if you have questions, during the week and you want to reach me directly or you want to comment on my YouTube page, then that's fantastic. I wish that you would. You're not in this alone. I mean, you might be in the business by yourself, but you are definitely not in this industry by yourself. There are many, many agents and creators and teams that are here to help support you on your journey. Don't ever feel like you're doing this alone. I was very blessed to be on a fantastic team with a great host agency, as I mentioned, And those things have been important for me to be able to be successful. And so if there's anything that I can do to help the next person become successful, or more importantly, to get that foundation set, then that's a goal that I want to reach. And so I really am excited to see so many people here this evening. Again, I apologize for the scheduling issues, but I literally thought I could do four things at once, and that was not the case. But live and learn, right? I hope that I have quashed any disbeliefs about you being able to make a profit, or you needing to be a tech guru. I hope that you understand that as an independent travel agent, you can elevate yourself and be successful, even more so than if you were with an agency. Again, it's just whether it's the fit for you or not. And then I really hope that, you come away with understanding some of the key points in being successful in this business. But again, we have got many, many classes to, uh, you know, go over many, many new topics throughout the next couple of Mondays. And so if you are looking for me on YouTube, it's Amy Wren, which is RYN IA. Amy Wren IA, with the dash in between each one. And if you subscribe, that is the very best way to make sure that you get any updates or any little things that I might want to add as chotskis or surprises, maybe, whatever it may be. But go ahead and hit subscribe and like and share. And if you've got friends that are interested in learning about this, or agents that have questions, let them know. I hope that we can all be here together and really find out what's important in the master steps. I will catch you on the flip flop. And as always, safe travels. Y'all have a great night. Thank you.